Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Tuesday, not Wednesday, but it is Pro Wrestling Weekly. We are coming to you a day early because we'll be covering the Luton game tomorrow night. Make sure you smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Drop a like on the video, most important as well. And we want a real interactive chat tonight. Plenty to talk about tonight. Going to be some interesting stuff to come up. We're going to be talking about, of course, Elimination Chamber. We now have our card. We'll be getting your thoughts on that. We're also going to be running a little prediction competition where you have an opportunity to win, excuse me about this, some T-shirts and some baseball caps. Summer is on the way. Spring is out there at the moment. It's starting to widen out the evenings and all that kind of stuff, which is all good. So we're going to put a few caps and a few shirts up for grabs. So we're going to do a prediction contest for Elimination Chamber, and we'll give you the details of that in a little bit. We're going to be talking to you about Sting. We did say we would focus on Sting this week, so I've got a lot of Sting previous history in there in our history section, and we are going to be talking, of course, about his career as well. So let us know your thoughts in the chat on Sting as we progress through the show. Let us know your moments, what your Sting moments, your favorite moments, all that kind of stuff. But really, we really want to find out how you feel about how this story is coming together for this last match at AEW Revolution. How do you feel about it and stuff like that as well? We did do a short video on it I did last week. I got quite passionate and romantic about it, as Morris would say, because I've been a long-time fan of Sting all the way back as far as I'd say 86, 87. I'd say I've been following his career, so it's a tough one to take when you see the way it's going and stuff like that. We're also going to be talking Hall of Fame, folks, and we're roughly about 6 weeks out from Mania, 5-6 weeks out from Mania. So let us know your thoughts on the Hall of Fame. Who you think may go in there, who would you like to see go in there, and not only who would you like to see go in there, but who also would you like to see inducting who you want to go in there. So I think most people are talking Bray Wyatt, but if you can think about someone other than Bray Wyatt, because I think we all have a feeling Bray might probably go in there, but who would induct Bray Wyatt? That's the question. Let me know your thoughts if Bray goes in. We'll do a quick recap on Raw and SmackDown results as well. You can let us know your thoughts and how you feel TV is going in the build up to the Elimination Chamber and, of course, WrestleMania. And what else have we got? Oh, yeah, here's one for all you guys and gals in the chat. But before we do that, we'll take your comments first before we get into the show. Sean's in early as always. Howdy, horse. Bit later tonight. Perfect for us night owls. Absolutely. Just to let you know, folks, I have a lovely banoffee birthday cake waiting downstairs for me. So these are the sacrifices I make for you guys and for this podcast. It's my birthday today. So there you go. Acer City is halftime 0-0. Get the show on immediately. Absolutely. Sounds like looking at the statistics, Acers, they were absolutely battering them. Feels we're getting up early for a pay-per-view, but we'll take it. At least Americans have to suffer. Yeah, no, it's going to be absolutely great. You'll be able to get up Saturday morning, stay in your pajamas or whatever it is, in your slippers, have your breakfast on, put on a big breakfast and stuff like that. 10 o'clock Elimination Chamber. What more would you want? Of course, I'll be in the shop. But we will have it on. There's no doubt about that. Acers Dortmund 1-0 up. Interesting. And pre-show starts at 9 a.m. We don't have to worry about the pre-show anymore. Pre-show actually is quite boring nowadays, now that they don't have matches on it and stuff like that. So it's just a lot of dross, really, you know. So 9 a.m. would be even an early start for me in terms of the shop. Eric is in. How are you, Eric? Good seeing my friend. We'll be getting your thoughts on stuff tonight. Don't worry about that. Acer, Sami Zayn is beating Gunther for Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania 40. You think? Interesting. Zayn's in. Big up Zayn. I hardly watch AEW. WWE is just another level at the moment. Yeah, we've been saying it now since what? Even before Survivor Series, we were saying it. And Eric, still feel like the Young Bucks aren't the ideal opponents. 100%, Eric. 100%. When you look back and you think about the career of Sting, and I went back, I did a deep dive into Sting today. A lot of it I would have watched already, but it's good to refresh it anyway. And you think, if you look down through his Wikipedia page and his titles and accomplishments and all that kind of stuff, my God, to think that that career is going to end in a tag match with the Young Bucks is just... And if you're a Young Bucks fan, that's fine. I understand that and stuff like that. But really, Sting, you know, he's known as the icon, you know, so it's just, I don't know. Sting is the man. It's amazing how he's had a career resurgence like he has at his age. He's gone into AEW doing crazy things, but apparently he chose them, yeah, which makes it even weirder, Eric, doesn't it? Makes it even weirder. I wonder, did he though? Or I wonder, is the reaction to that is that's the story that comes out? You know, it's this Tony Khan saying thing, you better go out there and tell people you chose them. Because there's been quite a reaction to it. Terry Funk, but I'd love to see some ECW names. I heard Sandman signed a Legends contract. He did, as far as I know. So he could potentially be in there. That would be awesome, I have to say. Acer, Sting's greatest moment is either beating Flair at Great American Bash in 1990 for nearly championship or Starrcade 97 defeating Hogan. Absolutely, some great ones in there. Stephen's in. Big up, Stephen. This Vince stuff is getting really messy. You reckon, Stephen? I actually, do you know something? I kind of decided on this show, and we can talk about it in the chat if you want, but I kind of decided on this show I kind of needed to take a break from what's unfolding in terms of that stuff. So if you want to ask me something about it, I'll comment on it and stuff like that. But I purposely didn't put any of it in the show this week because I really think as wrestling fans now, I think we're kind of a little bit beat up by it at this stage, aren't we? So, yeah, but absolutely, Stephen. Big up to see you there, my friend. Sean, Jesus, lad, I had no idea. Happy birthday. Hope you had a stormer. Thank for all you do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I didn't do much. I was in work today and all and stuff like that. So I came home tonight, had a bit of dinner, got ready for the podcast, made sure everything was set up and all. And gonna have a bit of cake later with the kids and with Hillary. So it's great. That's all. That's all you want. Yeah, love to see Vince finally getting found out. I think we all knew. It's just a bit of legitimizing on it now at this stage, isn't it? But it's crazy. Eric, appreciate a happy birthday. Absolutely. Dylan or Stephen, the Young Bucks are absolutely scudder, yeah. So you need to give us your thoughts on this, like and your thoughts on Sting's career and stuff like that. This would be crazy. I love Sting versus PCO, the battle of two people who are way too old to be wrestling as suicidally as they are. Oh my God, that PCO, good Lord. Did you see Mattel making a Sandman Elite figure? I did indeed. I certainly did. I picked up what kind of cake? For me, my go-to cake is normally either I go for Black Forest or I go for banoffee. They are my two go-tos. And if I'm plain in terms of a dessert, I'm a real kind of apple tart and cream kind of guy. So that's it. Nothing too spectacular. Now, having said that, I'm built for eating any of them, so it's not too bad. And I have been known to go to a buffet and put all the desserts on the plate. The boys in the chat who have gone away with me can vouch for that. At Stephen, Scudder in the pan. Yeah, absolutely. Sting was set to face Kenny Omega in his retirement match. But was taken ill, so creative planning changed. Yeah, I don't even think the Kenny match would have done it for me. As I said in there, if you're picking AEW for me, there's really only two in AEW I went for. I probably would have went for three, maybe. MJF would be one I would go for. Jericho was certainly one I would go for, and then the other one would be, who was I going to mention? Dustin Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes for me. That's who I'd be going for. I wouldn't be going for any of those boys. What do you think of Lauren saying he's a victim as well? It's gas, isn't it, Stephen? It's gas, isn't it? Talking about turning state evidence and grassing your boss up to save your own skin and stuff like that. He's going to come out of this really bad as well, because if this is the approach that he's taking, there's no way you can talk about that. Now, I know Brett did a story last week. We covered it on the podcast and stuff like that, and he talked about how this was run back then like a Godfather situation and stuff like that. So I can understand some of it, but really, it's just, you know what I mean, out of hand. Apple crumble the tarts. Yeah, listen. Absolutely. Listen, I wouldn't be that picky, but yeah, if the crumble's available, I go with the crumble. But always apple, never rhubarb. Don't like rhubarb. Baz is in. Evening, bro. Happy birthday. Thanks, pal. Baz can vouch for me on the dessert side of things. Absolutely. Oh, I'm more of a sponge or a chocolate biscuit cake. Hillary makes an unbelievable chocolate biscuit cake. That's Ben's go-to for his birthday. Sponge. When you say sponge, you're talking about a Victoria one, are you? You're talking about the one with the cream and the jam, are you? Yeah, absolutely. Top birthday cakes, huh? That's Stephen Dillon. People power. There you go. What do you think of Ahmed Johnson's claims about Booker T trying to get with a 15-year-old? I have no idea. I've no idea. But at this stage in pro wrestling, nothing whatsoever would surprise me. So there you go. But I've no idea. Do you get any good prezzies? Not really. They don't normally like. They'll probably treat me to something if I see it or something like that. If I want a tablet or, maybe something a new mic or headset or something like that. That kind of thing. So there's nothing really out there. Funny enough, there's nothing out there right now that I'd say. I have my eye on a couple of things actually, a couple of signed pieces. I actually picked up a signed turnbuckle the other day, a WWE turnbuckle signed by Kane and the Godfather, which is really cool. That's on the way, so I'm looking forward to getting that. So a couple of signed pieces maybe and stuff like that. I am chasing as well. I want to get a signed piece by Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I already have the WrestleMania 3 picture with him and Savage signed. But I'd like to get a signed Ricky Steamboat figure or something. I also have the big Schomburger as well, but I'd like to get a physical figure or something like that. Would be really cool. Good on Grimo. Grimo's in. See Meltzer trying to stick up for AEW ratings after beating shows on TNT and others during show last week. Biggest it's ever been. Yeah, absolutely. He had plenty to say as well. He sort of spoke out of turn as well, and it wasn't received greatly either, wasn't it? Foden just missed an open goal. Thank God for that. Long may it continue. The Adlam's chocolate biscuit cake recipe will get 6 stars in the Tokyo Dome. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can't make a bad chocolate biscuit cake, can you? Because it's really just, it's a mess in a bowl, really, isn't it? 0-0 in the City game so far. Yeah, fingers crossed, bonkers. Long may that continue. Willis is in. Happy 21st, bro. Yeah, appreciate that. All right. Yeah, I was having fun with Will earlier on WhatsApp while we were talking about. We were reminiscing about. I was listening to some WWE show in the shop today, and I heard Chimmel announcing a match, and it brought me back. I went to a house show with Will years ago. I don't know how long ago it is, Will. It must be 2006 or 7 or something like that. And we were sitting there, and Chimmel, the match had started, the first match on this house show, down in the Point. It was the old Point then, I think, as well. And Chimmel was there. Chimmel was doing the announcing, and he was nodding off in the chair like this. Here he was like this. And the place kind of went silent at one stage, and Will just let a roar down to him. Wake the fuck up, Chimmel. And Chimmel jumped up out of the chair and all, and the crowd just started laughing. And I was just thinking about it today when I seen Chimmel announcing. Good times, good times. We have had some fun. Stevenson, now there's new allegations with your one that committed suicide because Vince did nothing about her getting assaulted. Yeah, she got more than assaulted. Friend Ashley Mazzaro, I presume you're talking about there. Yeah, and that's gonna get that's gonna open up a lot of stuff now. Interesting to see. Will is in. All right, Bazatron. There you go. Give him Baz a shout out. Chocolate biscuits, golden syrup, and butter. By God Almighty, King. There you go, Sean. You'll have to do a show on birthday cakes. Acers Booker T is currently training Umaga's son. Looks like a monster. Newest member of the bloodline incoming. Brilliant stuff. Great stuff in the chat there, folks. Really appreciate it as always. So the first thing we're going to ask you, you're getting a little bit of homework tonight, folks. A little bit of homework. We are going to be looking for predictions for the Elimination Chamber, but we're going to look for you to send them in. So you can either message me wherever you want on Twitter. You can send it to the Facebook page. You can send it to Instagram, whatever way you want to do it. Or you can email it, theuppertierpodcast@gmail.com. I want your predictions for all the matches at Elimination Chamber. And then whoever gets the most right, or if there's a tie, what we'll do is we're going to get you out some T-shirts and some caps to give away and stuff like that. So a little bit of a giveaway tonight. So absolutely. Hang on, where are we now? There we go. JSW, Stop Motion and Games. How are you? Thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Do you think Brock Lesnar will ever return to WWE? Hey, look, Velveteen Dream wrestled his show for Dynasty Wrestling the other night, so who knows? I'm not too sure. I don't know. I think with THQ, I think there's a sensitivity there and stuff like that. And if you're anyway linked to this stuff, I doubt it. It'd be a very sad end. I mean, in terms of these allegations and stuff like that, but it's mad how just in that moment of making a poor decision, you can ruin a whole legacy of a career, taken out of the intro, probably getting the total Benoit treatment, if you like, and stuff like that. So it's a it's terrible for us as fans, because as it goes along and goes along, we're losing more and more stuff. You know what I mean? There's only so many guys that can go out there and wrestle God. Birthday cake show has to happen. It does, doesn't it? I get away with your homework. Yeah, absolutely. So here's one for you then. I seen this on Fightful. Fightful put this up the other day. Fightful Select. What is your earliest memory of professional wrestling? Let me know in the chat. What is your earliest memory of professional wrestling when you started following it? I thought it was really cool. So hats off to Fightful. Great question. But it'd be interesting to see it'd be kind of interesting to see where it kind of began for you guys. Stephen, I don't know if I want to get up at 9 in the morning though. Don't get up at 10. Get up at 10. Listen, it's not often that it happens, so we have to take advantage of it and stuff like that. I find that the late pay-per-views now in the early hours for me just kill me and stuff like that. It just knocks me for 6 for the day. Drew became the second person to pin Cody since his return run began. Yeah, we seen that, Eric. We'll be talking about that later in the results of Raw and stuff like that. Drew McIntyre and Becky and Rhea Ripley. Yeah. Interesting. Jack is in. Hi, Noel, lad. You sound. I'm very sound, man. How are you? Good to see you, Paul. No chance in hell. No chance in hell. Brock requested a very sus video from the Grant one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's a difficult one. Sorry, I haven't been on most of the stream. Sorry, I'm off for my half term and had a work experience last week, and I'm quite busy. Understand, Jack? Absolutely sure. I was talking to you about McDonald's and stuff like that, and all. And I hope that situation got sorted out for you as well. That you messaged me on Twitter as well. Good lad, Jack. Absolutely. Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor could either happen at UFC 300 or WrestleMania 40. There was an interesting slant on this today. I was listening to. Was it Conan's podcast and stuff like that? And they were talking about how they're going to start to see this intertwining of the whole UFC world and pro wrestling WWE world through this TKO merger and stuff like that. And they were talking about you're going to get fighters rocking up on wrestling and you're going to get guys rocking up at the UFC and stuff like that. And we've seen it with Michael Chandler and stuff like that. So very, very interesting. Acers are saying 1979. 1979. Tell me what the memory is. If it's 1979, tell me what the memory is from 1979. Wow. Interesting. Think it was seeing Punk and Cena on Raw in 2011. I remember the Nexus attack Cena at the end. I was disgusted. Interesting. Brock's profile is still on the webpage, so if the door is probably open if things die down. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the extent of all this and stuff. You know what I mean? It's all of it is terrible, but there's kind of levels, I suppose, of terribleness, if that's even a word. Will is in the build up for Mania 6 for me, first memory. Interesting. Yeah, my people will speak to me next week about it. All good stuff. I hope it's all sorted out for you, mate. McGregor said he was fighting Chandler at 185 in June. Yeah, absolutely. All these call outs now and stuff like that. And we've seen it over the last decade, I suppose. Since McGregor went in there and stuff like that. We had a bit of it with Tito and Chuck and Ken Shamrock and stuff back in the day and stuff like that. But we've really seen it ratchet up over the last decade with the onset of McGregor and all that kind of stuff. It's become real promo, real WWE at times to build up to these fights. Sometimes the best fights in the world can't be just built up, even if you have two great fighters. I remember for years I watched George St. Pierre, such a brilliant martial artist, such a brilliant fighter and stuff like that and all. But he was so good, he'd bore you to tears, that kind of way. Unless you were training yourself in mixed martial arts, stuff like that, and you had an appreciation for what he does. But they always had to put him in there with a bad guy who would mouth off. Remember Matt Serra, Matt Hughes, of course. They put him in with guys who had stuff to say because George was such a gentleman and stuff like that, Bianca Montez and Punk were at the Volk and Topuria card, but they were just in the crowd. I don't know if I want them getting involved. It's going to happen, isn't it? It's inevitable. Pamela's in. How are you, Pamela? Thanks for joining us tonight. My first time watching wrestling is 1996. Triple H versus Goldust on Raw. Super, super stuff. Acers, greatest ever wrestler on television, Ric Flair. There you go. There you go. And then it all began. Jack, but when I left this guy who was helping me and my mate was so sound, and he said, if I ever go to the Mackey's, he would give me staff discount so my food wouldn't cost that much. Shout out to him. Big up shout out to him. That's what you want. Stephen, my older cousins giving me their Hasbro figures when I was young, not knowing what wrestling even was. That's always the way, isn't it? We get so many. It's interesting in running the shop the way you see so much stuff. But we get kids who come in who are new fans of wrestling. And it all started because maybe one kid in the class came in and brought in a John Cena figure. And it's mad how it spreads then through the class. They're all become mad into it. And I remember years ago when I was in school and I was mad into wrestling and stuff like that, there was only a couple of us into it, maybe 2 or 3 of us used to watch it. And it was only the 3 of us who would discuss it. It was a real little secret society type of thing. So it didn't quite spread through then. But now, big time, you see it now. Kid rocks up into school with a John Cena figure. They all want a piece of it then. It's mad. Sean, and the weight, Mr. Chandler. Yeah, absolutely. Bonkers. Joined Haystack's Big Daddy in the 80s, then Steamboat, Hard Foundation, Warrior, Savage Piper. Yeah, absolutely. World of Sport, bonkers. World of Sport, good Lord, we remember it well, don't we? Saturday afternoon before the ball. I often wonder, actually, bonkers. I wonder, did we watch World of Sport? Because World of Sport was like the pre-show to the football on a Saturday afternoon. So did we just get there early? And just by luck, we stumbled across this pro wrestling and we watched it because it was the build up to the football, and then we kind of fell in love with it. Maybe that's the case. I'm not too sure. Yeah, no, I'll go on the circus with my mate tomorrow, as there's to do this week. And no Tranmere at home this weekend. They had a good win last weekend, didn't they, Jack, as far as I know? I was watching some soccer Saturday, and they were happy. Were they 3-0 up at one stage against Stockport, was it? Braun Breaker has insane potential. He does have insane potential. Let me know, Eric, what way would you want them to see them go? I love GSP, but he's too polite for the mic. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I remember getting the Road Warriors, Jake Warrior, Hogan, Natural Disasters, and Bossman. There's a collection. There's a collection. Just look at that sentence right there, that comment right there. What a collection. Steve, just don't mention the gobbledygooker, yeah? Bisping and Dan Hardy were brutal to GSP in the build-up. I remember Hardy saying he's not scared of someone who comes out in their pajamas, yeah? Absolutely. Jack, I'm going to go to your McDonald's, ask for the manager so I can tell them how good you are. There you go. Getting the bump already. There you go. That's the Sting effect, isn't it, with the books? The figures open up your imagination. They do. They certainly do. Bonkers, yes, World of Sport. Right, let's get in. Let's start with the Elimination Chamber. Give me your thoughts. How happy are you on this? How happy are you looking forward to the card? What are you looking forward to? Has it kind of started out the way you thought and stuff like that? I am looking forward to the SmackDown, because the 2 boys are being sent in. What did you make of this new Catch Republic? Especially for you guys in the chat who would be very much aware of British strong style, and of course, these boys who have wrestled on our shores with OTT, Pete Dunne. Seen Pete Dunne wrestle for the first time when I think he was 15 or 16. He was an incredible talent even then. Heck of a nice guy as well. But let us know. Let us know what you think of the new name, this new Catch Republic. And obviously the Judgment Day sending in JD and Dirty Dom to soften these guys up the night before. So let us know what you think of that. Eric, I think they've already set up the groundwork for him being the next Paul Heyman guy. Yeah, not a bad show at all. That could really work and stuff like that. I wonder what the thing he was getting excited about. They were talking about today. What's the thing he got most excited about in the contract? And it wasn't money. So there must be something in the contract. Aldis must have promised him something. Where is it? I have it here. Aldis must have promised this guy something that he got excited about in the contract. Do we know what it is? Let me know, because I don't. Let's get back here. So there's your Elimination Chamber. JSW back in. What was your reaction to the tragic passing on Bray Wyatt? I can tell you what my reaction was. I was away on holidays in the States. I was in Florida. I was walking through a Target with my wife and my kids. We were doing a bit of shopping. And there's a section in Target that kind of does furniture. And I had a kind of a gazebo style kind of setup with some garden furniture in there. And I told my wife I'd be back in about 10 minutes. She didn't know what was going on. And I went into that place. I sat down on a piece of garden furniture, and it was actually quite nice. It was a nice setting as well. And I took a moment to take it in and stuff like that. And if anyone has seen my reaction video, I got very emotional and very upset about it. Very sad. And I think what hit me the most, and it hit me that day as well, because I'm a father as well with kids and with my wife Hillary. What I did was it made me reflect on my own situation, and it made me think about, well, if I passed at such a young age and left them behind as kids and stuff like that and all, how would they cope and stuff like that? And how would Hillary have managed rearing the kids on her own at that young age and stuff like that and all, And still get a bit emotional now even thinking about it. But that was my reaction. Very, very sad and stuff like that. I was a big Bray Wyatt fan. And I think he could have achieved some great stuff in wrestling if his career had continued and stuff like that. And very, very, very sad. I was a big fan of his dad's IRS, and at times also even a fan of Bo. So yeah, it was tough to take, and very tough to take as well. Even after Luke Harper going as well, of course, Brody. So tough. Never easy to take when they go. I say to people, actually, JSW, I say to people all the time, when Eddie's anniversary comes around, I get very emotional, stuff like that. The certain wrestlers, when it comes around, I get very emotional. Warriors as well, they're tough and all, rude, perfect. So many, Bossman, we've lost so many. Matter of fact, it's interesting if you're out there on TikTok, if any of you go out there on TikTok, there's a page out there, I must get the name of it as well. And it shows it goes through all the different wrestlers' graves and stuff like that. And it's really poignant when you start going through and you see the likes of Owen Hart and Ultimate Warrior and Sheik and all these different graves and stuff like that. And you think about how they impacted our lives and our fandom and all that kind of stuff. And you look back on it and stuff like that. And you take a moment and you think about those moments, So Warrior's grave might pop up and you think about WrestleMania 6 and you think about all the moments, and then you think about all the missed opportunities, you think about all the opportunities he would have had if he had went back and they had sorted it much earlier, how much more history he could have created and stuff like that. And also it's always interesting and stuff like that. So yeah, absolutely. Emotional guy I am, JSW. Stephen, I only found that Giant Haystacks actually wrestled in WCW under the name Loch Ness. Madness, isn't it? Yeah, it is madness. Crazy. Good card, but not a stadium show. I think they'll blow it out of the park, though, Sean. I think they'll blow it out of the park. I think the two chamber matches are going to be unbelievable. Let's see that Rhea Nia Jax is kind of one of those ones where you want to see a bit in it and stuff like that, but you just want Rhea to come out unscathed, basically, with the history that's in there. But I don't know, they always look unbelievable down there when they do those shows down there. British Strong Style was a better name. It was a better name, yeah, absolutely. And it's mad to hear them even talk and stuff like that. You hear Pete Dunne comes out of nowhere to pull a promo on that real thick sort of accent on him and stuff like that. It's cool as well that that's still there and it's not gone. It's got taken over totally by the American accent, stuff like that. It's like the Tivoli all over again. Yeah, it is, isn't it? The import killer will live forever. Absolutely. It's probably too predictable, the results, but match might be entertaining. Is it predictable? Let us know who you're going for. I take it. I don't know. I mean, I'll give you my picks at the moment. I think Rhea will retain. I think that's fairly obvious. I think Drew is going to win the Elimination Chamber for the men. And for the women's, who do you think will win the women's? Because the women's is a little bit more. I know they're talking about Becky and stuff like that, and she did the press conference in Vegas and stuff like that. The sneaky feeling about Bianca. Sneaky feeling about Bianca, but let me know. Let me know what your thoughts are there. It is though. Some of it is predictable. Who are you going for in the tag match as well? And I tell you, I'm really looking forward to that Grayson Waller show. I do really like him. I don't know if you've seen Grayson Waller the other day on Twitter. He put up a picture. He was on a plane and he was reading a book, and the book was closed. He was holding the book like this, and he put out on the tweet something like, "On the way to Perth, Australia." But at least one story got finished or something like that. He's on fire at the moment. I do like Grayson Waller. What do you think is going to happen with this Grayson Waller situation? Are we going to see the real set? Is the snake in set going to come out in Perth, Australia? Or is he still going to be the chummy, I got your back kind of thing? I'm not too sure. But let us know your thoughts. Pretty good team name, I suppose, but it's no Viking experience. No, it certainly isn't. Awesome Truth winning undisputed tag team championships at WrestleMania 40. Awesome Truth. Good Lord. Wrestlers nowadays are just so wimpy. Old school, baby, Stephen. Old school. Matches. Yeah, matches. Yeah, what a win, mate. Tranmere beat top of the league 4-0, but I didn't go as I got a haircut. But my mate went, and his granddad, he said it was bouncing. Yeah, I heard it was, yeah. Sean's in at JSW, stop motion and games. It was the night before the IC results, and I was messing around with my bro, and then a group chat I'm in said Bray is gone, and I thought he was released, but then I found out, yeah, unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't sleep for like 2 hours. It's beyond tragic. It is, absolutely. And as I said, it wasn't even the wrestling thing that got to me. It was the thoughts of the kids and his wife. Braun Breaker was promised US Championship match against LA Knight after WrestleMania 40. Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely been promised something, hasn't he? In the Iron Claw, when Kerry sees his brothers across the river, I thought of Bray and Brody. Yeah, that was a poignant moment in it, wasn't it? Poignant moment. If you've gone to see the Iron Claw as well, folks, let us know your thoughts. Check back as well on the channel. We did do a review on it. It was kind of interesting in a number of different levels and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't know if a story as tragic as this and as broad as this, fits into a 2-hour movie or whatever it is. I think it might have been better as a 6-parter, kind of Netflix or Amazon Prime or something like that. But then I don't know. Is it kind of like, are you kind of moving into dark side of the ring territory and all that kind of stuff? I'm not too sure. But I just felt, I got the feeling watching it, and I said it in the review, that I think it just skipped from one tragedy to another, just kept on bouncing and stuff like that. Without giving a huge amount of context to it. And I said at the time that if you're going to just watch it and you don't have a background idea of the Von Erichs and the tragedy and everything that happened, I think you might feel like you're getting bounced around a little bit, And like one of the things I highlighted was the fact that, Kerry's going along on the motorbike, and the next thing, boom, he's climbing out of the bed with a stump. It was kind of like, there was no real context put to it, and it was kind of left to your own imagination to figure out kind of how it all came together. But let us know your thoughts. Need Warsaw to lose and Crawley at the weekend. In a big favour for Tranmere on Saturday. 1-0 to Man City, 71. Haaland, of course, yeah. That's all we need to hear tonight. Eric, I was very sad when Bray Wyatt passed, since he was one of my big inspirations in my creative endeavours, and how I idolised him to a degree. Yeah, absolutely. Another question about Wyatt. Most of us know Uncle Howdy was Bo Dallas. What do you think they could have done with that? I don't know, really. I don't really have an answer for that. I mean, I don't know. I just think it's kind of like, it would have been very, very difficult. And I'm sure it would have even been very difficult for Bo and stuff like that. And I think maybe it would something, maybe in time they might resurrect and stuff like that. But I think at the time, with it being so raw and stuff like that and all, I think sometimes those things need time to kind of settle before you can move into a situation where you want to bring something on the screen and stuff like that. So I'm not too sure. Aces there, Man City won, yeah, Haaland with the goal. What's the crack, Noel? Big up, Eno. How are you? Sorry I'm late. You never have to apologise, my friend. Wasn't Haystacks meant to feud with Hogan? There was talk of that, all right. Absolutely. Haaland has finally scored his first against Brentford in Premier League. There you go. Ron Killings is something else. Hashtag DX. Yeah, Ron Killings is our truth. Unreal. He will become irrelevant and end up in TNA. There you go. Brilliant movie. Brilliant movie. Yeah, I think it was put together. I just think it was just kind of. I just think it needed a bit more fleshing out, but then you don't want a really, really long movie, especially something that's a topic like that. It's really a tragedy. At times, really, the wrestling was really a byproduct of it. It was just a tragedy of a curse over this family and stuff like that and all, you know. I can't wait for the Earthquake Dark Side of the Ring. Should be interesting, all right. Iron Claw was beautiful. I was in shambles at the end. Fritz is a gobshite, and I don't know who that lad Kevin wrestled in the end, but it wasn't Ric Flair. Fritz was a tough one, wasn't he? That moment at the table when he was telling them that I think it was that David was his favorite, but you guys all have an opportunity to become my favorite. I thought that was very weird. And as a father, I kind of envisaged, imagine if I sat down at the breakfast table and I turned around to my 3 kids and I said, you're my favorite, but you two have an opportunity to become my favorite. Very, very strange. Very strange. He was tough on them, wasn't he? He was tough on them. Iron Claw was a really good movie. There was a few things they left out, like Chris Von Erich. But overall, I think it was a good story about how rough the pro wrestling industry is. Yeah. Absolutely. I feel really bad for Mike Von Erich. Yeah, portrayal was tough, wasn't it? Portrayal was tough. Becky best ever work is when she's chasing championships. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen actually people, Patrick, who does be on Twitter, he's a Man City fan. He does a bit of the he covers a bit of the wrestling as well. He was talking about how Becky should be potentially dropping the whole man thing at this stage. Looks like it's 2-0 to Man City. They just scored there again. I don't know who scored it. It'll come up now in a minute. But he was talking about how maybe she should move on from the man stuff at this stage. Oh, no goal. Chalked off, is it? Chalked off. There you go. Offside. Do you want to tag me in, bro? Nah, so we're nearly done, pal. We're just working through these comments now and a few other bits. So yeah, I got to get off. It's my birthday, so I got to get down and do some birthday cake with the family as well. And Fritz Von Erich was a terrible father. Yeah, absolutely. He just overshadowed the whole thing, didn't he? It was crazy. When I look back at it and all, I was like Kevin did an interview, said he wasn't happy with the final cut and stuff like that. But it felt like a real hatchet job on the dad, didn't it? Not to say that dad was a good guy, but it focused heavily on it, you know. Sean, you don't want a really, really long movie, and you don't want a movie more tragic than that. Imagine Chris was there. Yeah, absolutely. Who should be the one to end the over 600-day long reign of Gunther? Who do you want to take the IC strap? Interesting. Interesting. Let me know your thoughts. I don't know kind of who I want, because we've kind of had a lot of contenders, haven't we? We've had a lot of people try. You see the stuff with Jay last night, and Jimmy got involved, so that's setting up. We're going to get, I presume, Uso versus Uso at some stage, probably at WrestleMania. That's interesting. Back to 1-0 I just think it was offside. Where's Sheamus? I think he's still coming back from injury, isn't he? I think he's still coming back from injury, but he is due back soon. I wouldn't be sad at all with Sheamus taking the IC belt. Yeah, I know there's probably guys coming up, maybe Braun Breaker or guys like that, maybe potentially. Yeah, but Sheamus wouldn't be a bad shout. He's had a good feud there with Gunther. Gave us some great matches last year as well, didn't he? Himself, Drew, and Gunther at times were absolutely electric. The guy who played Ric Flair wasn't a very good portrayal. Virtually anyone could have a better will. Yeah, the will was a bit disappointing, but the look was pretty good. It wasn't miles off on the look. I tell you who I think they knocked it out of the park, Harley Race. Harley Race was great casting, wasn't it? He looked the business. Shoulder injury, I think, at Stephen. Yeah, he has, absolutely. But he is due back soon. Appreciate it, JSW. Thank you very much. Sheamus is supposed to be heading to AEW when his contract expires. Absolutely no chance of that happening. No chance of that happening. Sheamus is WWE true and true. Absolutely bleeds it. There's no way he's going there. Happy 21st. They're all saying this happy 21st. I wish. It's not even my second 21st. I'm even beyond that. Go for finish, bro. Yeah, absolutely. Ricochet is heading to AEW when his contract expires. That could potentially happen, but I don't see Sheamus doing it. Sheamus is WWE. Sami Zayn is beating Gunther. He announced last night on Raw that he wants a championship soon. So Gunther versus Sami Zayn. Yeah, Sami's one of those guys. We spoke about him last week on the show as well, didn't we? He's kind of in a little bit of limbo and stuff like that because I think with Sammy, what happens is when interest kind of drops and stuff like that, all roads tend to lead back to Kevin Owens, and I think they've run that. They've run that so many times at this stage, so I don't know. So they need to do something with Sammy. Certainly, Gunther and the IC belt would be an interesting one. But when you think about all the guys he's faced, and you think about all the guys he's beaten in this title reign and stuff like that, if it came down to Sammy, how would you feel about it? Let me know. Me, I will end his IC championship streak. There you go. He knows all in. Niall hitting pension stages now. I'm not far off it. No, not Sammy. He wants the world championship. He can't have the IC again. People, do we really think, let me ask you this, Bonkers, do we really think, does anyone see at any stage Sami Zayn holding the world championship in WWE? I don't see it. I just don't see it. And I like Sami Zayn. I love the stuff he did. The bloodline stuff and all was cool. The jackass stuff he did was cool. But I don't see him holding a world title like that. Does Sami get a world title ever? There you go, JSW. Not for me. And I followed his career through Ring of Honor and everything. I'm a Sami Zayn fan. But I just don't think at that level, I just don't see it. And I'm taking the IC title to AEW. What would you take it there for? So let me know your thoughts on what did we want to talk about. Sting, remember, keep on letting me know your thoughts on Sting and his career and how you feel about it and how it's panning out and what they're doing in AEW and stuff like that. How do you feel about this match? This is, it's not sitting with me at all. It's just not sitting with me at all. My first memories of Sting, folks. Yeah, let me know your first memories of Sting as well. My first memories of Sting, and I said it on the little the video we did on Sting there last week, was when he called out the Horseman. It was Ric Flair Appreciation Night in Raleigh, North Carolina. Sting had a match in the ring, and he called Ric Flair out after the match. JJ rocks up to the ring, throws the drink in Sting's face, which is something that happens a lot in Sting's career, I said. And Sting drags JJ into the ring, hits him with the Stinger Splash, goes to put on the Scorpion, and the next thing, the Horsemen all hit the ring. Sting gets out of town quick enough, doesn't get attacked, and what happens is Flair has one of the most emotional meltdown promos you will ever see. If you've never seen it, go and look it up on YouTube. Flair has an absolute meltdown at Jim Crockett and David Crockett and says he will not appear on Jim Crockett Promotions TV again until he has a contract signed by Sting in the ring. JJ is on the ground. Aaron is brilliant during this as well. You should see Aaron. He's just, they're coaxing JJ and they're talking to him like he's nearly dead. Aaron Anderson is flipping out. How could you let this happen on your show, David Crockett, all this kind of stuff? It was brilliant. And from then I was hooked. I loved Sting. But he's had some unbelievable moments and stuff like that. No, but I just think some parts of me think that there's a body of his career that just didn't happen for one reason or another. But unbelievable. And it'll sadden me if this is the way it goes. It will sadden me, you know what I mean? It's just, we seen Undertaker doing the Boneyard with AJ Styles and stuff like that, and it was the last match and stuff like that. But it was not necessarily what we envisaged would be Undertaker's last match at WrestleMania. But it was still cool. It was still kind of groundbreaking. It was still different. and he was in there against an opponent of a certain level and a certain quality, and it was shot in a brilliant way. And of course, listening to the Undertaker documentaries after as well, we got background to it about what happened and how difficult that week was from shooting this and stuff like that and all. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, don't forget, folks, keep on letting me know your earliest memory of professional wrestling, what it was. I can for a couple of months, just like Liv did. Yeah, absolutely. No, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Be a tough one. Be a tough one. Happy birthday, bro. Cheers. Appreciate that. Acers, Clash of Champions 1. Flair versus Sting for the NWA Championship. Fantastic wrestling. Absolutely. Himself and Flair had such chemistry as well, didn't they? Such chemistry. Ric Flair versus Sting. First encounter for the NWA World title. There you go. Backing it up all the time. 1990 Clash when he gets kicked out of the Horseman. Great stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Ole Anderson, the man who made it all seem so real. Eric, found out recently that Bret Hart didn't even know AEW existed when they called him and asked him to introduce. I seen this. This is crazy, isn't it? He said yes because he was in Vegas anyway. Yeah. I think he did say afterwards, wasn't he interviewed afterwards, and he said he regretted it as well. Yeah, so mad. Totally shame we never got Sting versus Undertaker. Yeah, like Sting versus Undertaker. That's a match that you end your career on, isn't it? Tell me about a match that you end your. If you want Sting to end his career, tell me who you think he should face if everyone was available. Who would you want Sting to face? It's certainly not the Young Bucks, and it's certainly not Kenny Omega. That's for sure. Maybe his feuds with versus Ric Flair I would favour. Yeah, unbelievable. Quick rundown of our results. I'll have to just full screen this one for the moment. So obviously last week we had the Elimination Chamber qualifying match, Kevin Owens versus Dirty Dom. Kevin Owens coming out winner. And also we had the women's one as well. You know these ones already. Tiffany Stratton won this one. Orders of Pain picked up a win. We had another qualifying match, Miz versus United States Champion Logan Paul. Logan Paul winning that one. And the other one was obviously Naomi versus Albert Fire, which was excellent as well. Naomi with a new entrance as well. Let us know what you thought of the entrance. And then, of course, we got the Bloodline stuff as well. Quick rundown on the Raw results. Drew defeating Cody, as we spoke about earlier. Raquel Rodriguez, the powerhouse, taking that last chance battle royal. The Judgment Day defeated DIY and Awesome Truth. Chad Gable defeated Ivor. And Gunther defeated Jey Uso, obviously with Jimmy getting involved as well. There your rundown of your results from both shows. Let us know your thoughts on that and stick out there. How did you feel about it? Also loved Sting versus Black Scorpion and Starcade 90. Yeah, absolutely. Going back now, aren't we? Sting versus Darby Allin. Master versus Apprentice in a sort of passing of the torch. Still wouldn't do it for me, Eric. Still wouldn't do it for me. Needs to be a much bigger profile than that for this guy down now. SmackDown results this week. Hours of Pain defeated Street Profits and Drew McIntyre. LA Knight was DQ. You're giving them away. You're giving them away, Acers. Giving them away. Chelsea should have won last night. She's so entertaining on screen. She is actually so entertaining on screen. We're in the 90th minute here, folks. Still 1-0 to Man City. Haaland with the goal. What did you make of this segment? The Rock smells what the Bloodline is cooking. What did you take from this? So you have all the boys out there in their sweats, and the Rock comes out in the Versace shirt. A little bit out of place, but what did you make of the whole? What did you make of the whole segment? What did you think about it? Did it hit the spots that you wanted it to hit? Was it a little bit deflating? I expected, I have to say, a little bit more. The Rock, of course, pushing out some of the old stick that he comes out with and stuff like that. But what I did pick up from it that was interesting. Yeah, Eric is saying it there. Look, where are we? There we go. Chelsea should have won last night. She's so entertaining. Yeah, absolutely. And then, yeah, can't ignore the L sign. Yeah, can't ignore the L sign. Absolutely. It's mad the way they're dropping these little Easter eggs, isn't it? And we're kind of picking up on it and stuff like that. I did pick up on one thing where he spoke about how Reigns and him They talked about how they would be the kind of powerhouse duo kind of thing, that it's those two. Didn't mention Solo, didn't mention Jimmy, didn't even mention Heyman. All the conversations have been about him and Roman, and the others aren't even spoken about. So let me know your thoughts on that. Sting versus Rick Rude, Clash of Champions 17, US Championship, fantastic angle with Lex Luger, mystery boxes, and Sting driving ambulance back from the hospital. Yeah, unreal, unreal. They did some good stuff. They did some good stuff, didn't they? Absolutely. And what do you make of this? Curtis Axel was being interviewed the other day. He was talking about wanting to use his own name, Joe Henning, of course, the son of Mr. Perfect, and of course, grandson of Larry the Axe. Good pedigree there in terms of wrestling, But he says, I've always wanted my name. My last name means the world to me. The name Henning. I fought it the whole time I was up there. I fought when I became Curtis Axel. Even Paul Heyman tried helping me get my name back. They just wouldn't budge. I was fine with Curtis Axel. You take Curtis, and Axe is Larry the Axe. So it was cool, and that was fine with me, but I always wanted to be Joe Henning. When I was in developmental in FCW, I was Joe Henning. I won the World Championship there as Joe Henning. And once I got brought up, they changed my name. I thought it was some kind of rib. It wasn't. When I come back, that's something I'm going to work out. I'm not doing anything except be Joe Henning. There you go. Piece from Curtis Axel there. Joe Henning, Mr. Perfect's son, Larry the Axe's grandson. Pedigree there. What do you make of that? If he comes back as Joe Henning, I think it'd be kind of cool. And they are reverting back to some names, so it is a good sign. So it should be interesting. Bonkers. I thought we was getting Jericho versus Sting, but no, we never. Yeah, that's if you're picking from AEW, it has to be someone like that, doesn't it? It has to be Jericho or Dustin Rhodes or maybe MJF. It has to be at a certain level and stuff like that to really pull this off. You can't just go out with your last match, being that. It's terrible. Paul Heyman promos for Clash of Champions 17 was quality wrestling entertainment. Yeah, absolutely. Nexus was buried after SummerSlam 2010. Yeah, remember the Nexus on the core and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was crazy. Want to get your thoughts on this, folks. Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame coming up, obviously, just before Mania, just after the SmackDown before Mania, the go-home show. Who do you feel going in there? Who else do you feel should go in? What do you think of this kind of lineup here? Would this lineup here do it for you? And if it is, who do you think in there? Like, if you like Luger going in, who should induct Luger into the Hall of Fame? Obviously, a lot of difficult situations there at the moment, because obviously, Sting would be a good choice, but he's contracted to AEW. But who knows? They might be able to sort something out there. Ric Flair would be a good one, but obviously he's working with AEW. But how do you feel about that? Umaga going in? I think Umaga going in would be a great choice. I think it would be pretty cool, especially with their emphasis on the bloodline and everything else that's going on. I think that would be really, really, really cool. But let me know if you have anyone else in mind. Who else do you think should go in? What's your feeling on it? If Bray is going in, do they bring in Luke Harper? Obviously, do they bring in Eric Rowan as well? What way does that work? Or does Bray solely go in on his own and they hold back on the boys? Who knows? Let me know what you think. What would you be going for? Rock and Bloodline angle. This is what I had thought. I was sitting on the toilet for the entire promo. Then I've forgotten about it ever since. Paul Heyman, because it's ECW Town Philly. Yeah, Heyman. Yeah, Heyman's a great shout. It's weird that Batista was supposed to headline 2020, but then didn't want it because of COVID and still hasn't been inducted yet. Probably, yeah, I think the last couple of times it's been a scheduling thing and stuff like that, hasn't it? The schedule just hasn't lent itself to it. But again, let me know your thoughts on the Hall of Fame. Who would you like to see go in, and who would you like to see induct them? Yeah, Luger, absolutely. What else have we got for you? I think that's mainly it at the moment. I've avoided allegations and the NDAs and all that kind of stuff this week. I just felt I needed a breather from it. Let's get down through some history then. And I purposely picked out some good Sting history because the week that's in and stuff that we did want to focus a bit on Sting. So I will bring up Sting and we'll talk about that. Jimmy's team is fire. Yeah, absolutely. Acers. Paul Heyman has to bring the great phone for the induction ceremony. Absolutely. Jimmy's team is fire. Yeah, absolutely. Man City 1-0 full time. Yeah. Shame. Still struggling, Man City, though. Still struggling, but getting there. So we shall see. It's over to us tomorrow night. Right, bit of history for you folks, and as we said, a lot of Sting stuff in here as much as we can. 1995, Hulk Hogan retained the WCW World Heavyweight Championship by disqualification against Vader in the main event of WCW Super Brawl 5 from Baltimore, Maryland. Sting and Randy Savage were victorious over Avalanche and Big Bubba Rogers, and Harlem Heat retained the WCW Tag Team Championships against the Nasty Boys. It was 1995. Sting and Randy Savage victorious. 1996, at the WWF Raw tapings from Cincinnati, Ohio, WWF champion Bret Hart defeated Hunter Hearst Helmsley and gave Helmsley his first pinfall loss in singles competition on WWF TV. There you go, Bret. Someone doing the job for you. 1978, superstar Billy Graham was defeated by Bob Backlund for the WWF World Heavyweight title at a house show in Madison Square Garden, beginning Backlund's 6-year title reign. When we talk about reigns and the run that he's on at the moment, unbelievable. 6-year title reign from Bob Backlund. There you go. 1994, Ric Flair retained the WCW World Heavyweight title against Vader in the main event Thunder Cage match at WCW Super Brawl 4 in Albany, Georgia. Brian Pillman, Sting, and Dustin Rhodes were victorious over Paul Orndorff, Rick Rude, and Steve Austin in a 6-man Thunder Cage match. Put that out there again. Brian Pillman, Sting, and Dustin Rhodes. See me talking about Dustin Rhodes potentially facing him in his last match. We're victorious over Paul Orndorff, Mr. Wonderful, of course, Rick Rude, and Steve Austin in a 6-man Thunder Cage match. What a 6-man that is. Some lineup. 1993, WCW Super Brawl 3 took place on pay-per-view from the Asheville Civic Center in Asheville, North Carolina. In the main event, Big Van Vader beat Sting in a White Castle of Fear leather strap match. Take that in, folks. A White Castle of Fear leather strap match. 2005 on Monday Night Raw, Royal Rumble winner Batista made his choice of who to face at WrestleMania with his main event title shot. He chose Evolution stablemate Triple H, concluding one of the greatest face turn angles in wrestling history. Also on the card, Chris Masters made his WWE debut with a victory over Stevie Richards. Shout out to Chris Masters, the masterpiece. I actually seen video footage there the other day of him doing a show the other day. Still looks the business. Shout out to Chris Masters. Absolutely lovely guy, a gent. We've had him in the shop. Was an absolute gent. And anytime I meet him at WrestleCon, we still reminisce about those times. So good to see it. Where are we? 1993, Hulk Hogan made his first ever appearance on WWE's then newly launched Monday Night Raw program. This was Hogan's first appearance with the company since WrestleMania 8 the prior year. And 1998, WCW Super Brawl 8, their annual February pay-per-view, took place at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. What a legendary stadium. It was an eventful night capped by Sting defeating Hollywood Hogan to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. I think you can see it there. In 1991, WCW Wrestle War 91 took place at the Arizona Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Phoenix, Arizona. The main event was a War Games match that saw the team of Larry Sabisco and the Four Horsemen, while three of them, Ric Flair, Barry Windham, and Sid Vicious, gained victory over Sting, the Steiner Brothers, and Flying Brian. What a lineup that one as well. Unbelievable. Let's take a few comments and then we'll do the notable birthdays. Where are we? I suppose Young Bucks was a better alternative than Ric Flair having another last match. Absolutely, we don't want to see Flair do that either. But I still think Jericho, Dustin Rhodes, maybe MJF if he wasn't injured or whatever are the choices for me in there. World of Sport Road Warriors Hall of Fame. Stop now, would you? Q2 is it? Oh, sorry, O2 HO2 Manhattan. Are you Vedas? I'm not too sure what that means. Totally shame that Sting didn't work out in WWE. I don't think it was ever going to work out. And especially at that time as well, it was such it was just horrible. Like that WrestleMania was horrible, wasn't it? PSV won, Dortmund won. JSW back in. What's one match that was so overhyped and wasn't that good? I think Roman Reigns versus LA Knight. Yeah. Not too sure. Was it? Did it? I suppose it didn't deliver in terms of it didn't get the result that people wanted and stuff like that. But I thought they put on a solid outing. I thought it was decent. Listen, they anything to do with Roman Reigns, they're going to massively overhype it as a huge thing and stuff like that. And also, yeah, I'm not too sure. Yeah, Brian Pillman Hall of Fame. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Brian Pillman powerbomb head off top war game. Yeah, powerbomb head off the top of the war games cage. Good Lord, crazy stuff, wasn't it? Right, let's finish out with some notable birthdays. Notable birthdays this week. Sean O'Hare, 1971. Sean O'Hare, I thought he was always destined for greatness, had a great look and stuff like that and all. Sadly passed away. Ric Flair, 1949. Woo! Celebrates his birthday this week. We got Big John Studd, 1948. His birthday as well. Gail Kim, 1976. Shout out to Gail Kim. And of course, 1943, the great Antonio Inoki. 1921, Buddy Rogers. 1984, Corey Graves celebrates his birthday. And we round it out with 1982, Maria Kanellis celebrates her birthday this week. They are your notable birthdays for this week. As always, folks, it's been a pleasure bringing you the show. Make sure, don't forget, Elimination Chamber prediction competition. We got shirts and baseball caps to give away. Send them in. DM me on any of our socials with your picks for the matches for the Elimination Chambers. For the whole pay-per-view. So I want everything. Any matches that are on it, I want your predictions for. And we'll pick a few winners for next week's show. We'll let you know. We'll get some addresses and we'll get some baseball caps and shirts out to you guys for that. If you can't on the socials, you can email us directly, theuppertierpodcast@gmail.com, and send in your picks there. And we'll be gladly to give away some stuff next week. Acers, Sir Jim Ratcliffe just completed 27.7 deal for Manchester United. That was approved, I think, the other day, wasn't it? The other 2.7 is the money he's injecting in, as far as I know, to bring up the percentage. Right, folks, until next time, if you can, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, drop a like on the video. I will be back on Thursday for Thursday Tier Talk. We did drop today a preview for the Luton game. That's gone up there. What else went up today? Preview for the Luton game. Last night we had the Monday mashup with Mark. Some interesting discussion on that as well. Looks like we could be staring down the barrel of John O'Shea as the Ireland manager. That would be interesting as well. But for now, as Eno says, we are over and out. Great show as always, bro. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your evening, folks. Thursday, I'm back with Darren. Thursday, Tier Talk. And Friday, we will be bringing you a preview for the Carabao Cup final. We will be back next week with all the fallout from the Elimination Chamber. And as we move on, get closer to the road to WrestleMania, we'll take over. And we'll also be talking about Sting's final match as it draws closer. Let us know. Continue to let us know your thoughts. Talk to you again real soon, folks. And thanks. Really appreciate you showing up for the show as you do every week. Cheers.